Welcome to Tomorrow Makers, where we explore how we learn, live, work, and play now and in the future. I'm Summer Beatty.
And I'm Carlos Ramos. So exciting today.
This was an amazing episode. We have Marshall Fowler with us today, and he is the president of Penn College Baja SAE Club.
And an engineering design major here at Penn College in his final year.
And what a year to go out with a bang.
Absolutely. International event, the Baja SAE Williamsport endurance race. The Baja team has been participating in this for a couple decades and has always had to travel for it. And now it's in our backyard.
Yes. So Marshall was saying 15 hours they traveled last year. So yeah, to just go 15 minutes over the hill is pretty fantastic. And we couldn't be more excited to host it. So it's coming up on May 16th through the 19th. And Marshall's going to give us a little preview of what his team is doing in preparation for this big event.
Yeah, a little bit of that preview, a little bit of how you can get involved, whether you're someone here at the college or whether you're someone in the public, how you can just go to watch the race, and then some advice for up-and-coming engineering technology students, those that are, want to have that hands-on experience working with metal in any capacity. Really good stuff today.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoy. Here we go. I had extra coffee this morning. Warning.
I didn't have any coffee. Can I get like secondhand buzz here?
Yes, I'll try to stay not close enough so you can smell my coffee breath, but far enough away to just exude that energy. Are you a coffee drinker?
I'm more of an energy drink drinker, honestly.
Oh, okay. Got to be careful with that.
Those can sneak up on you.
Yeah, stick to one a day.
What's your energy drink of choice?
Celsius. They're really good.
I'm with you there. Except for, I don't know, I think too much of that fake sugar.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is it stevia that's in that, or what's the?
I'm not actually too sure.
Just some mystery powder. Sweetener.
I drink it every day, but I never read the label.
It works, makes my work productive, and makes me go.
Hey, if that puts you guys on the podium, then whatever it takes, right?
Say the car is built on no sleep in Celsius.
I hear a sponsorship opportunity for Celsius. Put a sticker on that car, and
we'll find the hashtag, but
shirts.
I would assume hashtag Celsius, right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
A little bit of free advertising here for them. But you know what? I do see them in like so many hands around campus. It came from nowhere. I thought. I don't know. How long
I'm
has it
out
been
of
around?
it too. I don't know. We had another student on a while back that was talking about it.
I thought like Red Bull was all the rage, but I guess I'm like totally out of touch.
Do they even make that? Maybe it is the same thing. They just rebranded it as Celsius.
Maybe.
Check the labels. See, I'm in a conspiracy mood this morning.
All right, we've got Marshall Fowler with us. Correct me if I've got your major wrong, but I believe you are engineering design.
Yep,
right?
engineering design technology. It's the 4-year bachelor degree, and I've also done the 2-year associate's degree as well.
Okay, and that's the engineering CAD.
Yep.
And you're in your last year?
Last semester.
Whoa, I'm so glad we had you then.
Final 14 weeks.
Oh, how does that feel? So
Weird.
good.
4 years went by in a blink of an eye. It was crazy.
And you're going out with a bang. I mean, a huge event here on campus. I mean, we'll get into that, but I know Summer's got a flow she likes to get to, and I just want to get right into
It's okay.
the meat.
This works too. I think that all of us on campus here know what Baja SAE is, but for anyone listening and that made it this far, that just like, what are they even talking about? I'd like to tee it up. We know what your major is. You're also the president of Baja SAE Club here on campus. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what that is, so we can just kind of set the stage?
Yeah, absolutely. Baja is a club here on campus where we design, build, and manufacture a single-seat all-terrain vehicle that we then go and race against other colleges that are doing the same thing from across the country and across the world. There's teams from Canada, India, Brazil, Mexico. They're all coming to the United States to race these buggies that are being designed by colleges and universities. What makes us a little unique, we're designing and manufacturing about 95% of everything that's on the car, from gearboxes, frames, everything. We're all doing it after class. Sometimes during class if we talk to our professors, but most of it is outside and at night.
Wow.
So you say that's different from other colleges and universities that are participating. What does that look like for them when they don't have, because we've got some pretty amazing manufacturing facilities here for our students.
Yeah, absolutely. If, let's say, a team they design something, they can't manufacture it in-house, they can have it sent out to other companies to have it built. Whereas when we design it, we go we go right out the door and throw it on a machine and produce the part.
That's great. So that gives you maybe a leg up in the testing because you have a test track.
Yep.
Not the track that you're going to be.
Nope.
You haven't even seen that track.
I haven't seen anything. I'm dying to see it. I can't wait.
And I don't. You're not even allowed to see it until like race weekend.
We see it at the same time everybody else sees it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's gonna be an amazing event.
So I'm curious, when you were looking at colleges, did you know Baja was happening here? I'm sorry, when I say happening, not the actual event, but did you know there was a club on campus? Or how did you get introduced to Baja?
So that's actually a funny story. That's kind of one of the main reasons I came here. I was on a tour with my mom, and we had just left the Cal Lab, which is right across the parking lot from where the Baja room is in the MTC building. And the team at the time had their car out in the parking lot, and they were doing a little testing. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I wonder what that is. And then when we went home, I did a whole bunch of research on what Baja was, the Penn College team. I watched all the YouTube videos on it. And then I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then when I came here, like the second day, I emailed them and set up a meeting with John, who's our advisor. And then I just kind of jumped right into it.
That's really cool. So now that you're here, you're racing, it's so much fun. And then you said you're going to graduate. So I hope there's a plan beyond the Baja.
Yeah, I'm going to be moving and get jobs lined up. I'm ready to go.
Nice.
So you already have your job lined up?
Kind of. I'm still I have a couple offers. I'm still looking around, trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. I want to stay in the manufacturing industry, but I'm not sure exactly what I want to do yet.
Okay, and will that be local? Forgive me, I don't know where hometown is for you.
So actually, I'm going to be moving. I'm right now in Sellersville, PA, which is about hour-ish outside of Philadelphia, but I'm going to be moving to the complete opposite side of the state to below Pittsburgh. Try something a little different, something new area. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Great. So exciting to hear you got offers on the table. It's pretty consistent, especially in the area that you're working in. You and your peers are just knocking it out of the park.
We're trying to.
So as president, that's sort of probably somewhat of an administrative aspect of your okay. So what though when it comes time for game day, actually even before that, what is your role? You can tell us like as far as what it entails being a president or just your role in general.
So we're kind of a smaller team, so we wear many different hats. And my role has been, I've been a designer since the beginning. So I design the parts in CAD, make prints, and then I hand them off to machinists who then make the parts. But slowly as my skills have progressed, I'm also our team's welder now. Okay. And then I've also started doing some of the machining work. So we started adding on more and more hats to do. And then once I took on the role of president, it became making sure everybody else has their projects to work on, making sure parts are getting ordered. We work with, there's a lot of paperwork that we need to deliver through SAE, documents, roll cage inspections, all that kind of stuff. So I'm responsible also for making sure those happen. So I do a whole lot.
Oh my goodness, it sounds like it. Back to the welding, is that normally part of your program?
No,
or is that
that is a skill that I picked up. I was really interested in my freshman year, so I spent a lot of time doing practice pieces at night, working with our advisor, John. He used to weld titanium mountain bike frames, so he was really good at it.
Oh, I'd like to talk about that
I was going to say, we just got our next guest.
Yes. Right? He's trying to avoid me. I'm going to just throw that out there. He doesn't like the spotlight. There's no camera here, though.
Yeah, he does not like anything.
No, I'm going to work on that.
Yeah, he worked with me a lot. We got our skills up, and now I do a lot of the frame fabrication as well.
Okay, that's amazing, because I can't imagine too many other colleges where you can just decide, okay, I'm going to pick up an extra skill like that. Holy cow. And I think the way it stands, that would almost be consistent with any major who wants to learn
Absolutely.
something like that?
I just put in a lot of time into it, and I was like, well, I know I want to do this in the future, so I'm going to take the next 4 years and try to learn as much as I can on this.
We have amazing facilities here for
We
it.
do. I mean, your lab area is something on the order of 20 to 30,000 feet. Is that?
In terms of like the manufacturing lab?
Yeah, the
or
manufacturing.
That, I'm not too sure about exact square footage, but it's a very decent size.
Yeah.
We have like 40 mills, I think 30 lathes, 4 wire EDM machines, a whole abrasive grinding machine or a grinding area. And then we also just got a brand new 3-axis hard-hinge machine. They donated it to us, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool to see what you guys can do in that shop. And I've been in some real world shops, and I'm like, this is just like walking into one of those. Only you guys are cleaner.
We try to make sure that we keep a clean shop because a lot of tours come through. Clean shop is clean mind.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
And then like right next door to you guys, 55,000 square feet of welding.
Yep, indeed. We have a welder in our room, so welding and fabrication table right in our room, so we can do pretty much everything we need within that shop, which is really awesome.
Now, is it just manufacturing engineering students that are involved in PCT Baja, or did you get them from welding and from the other majors?
We get a
as well?
whole mix of different majors that come in. We get engineering design students, manufacturing engineering students, metal fab students, which is a mix of manufacturing and welding, and then we get some welding students as well. We had most people stay within those majors, but we do get a few automotive kids, automotive business management, and a few other majors if they're really, really interested in cars and stuff.
How many students are involved right now?
Right now, I believe we have 14 to 16 different members, which is, we've grown a lot since the time I started. I think when I started, we had 10 on the team. So our numbers are slowly growing, which is good.
That's fantastic. How does a student get involved if they want to?
Absolutely. They normally, they just email us, be like, hey, I'm interested. And then they can come in the room. We show them around, show them the cars, show them what we do. And then slowly as time goes on, they show up more and more, and we can give them parts to keep them coming back. Reach out to us through email or Instagram. We can always take DMs and that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Now, you also drive the car in the races, don't you?
I do. We picked those based on who's smallest and who can kind of take care of the car the best, because it's a 4-hour long race. Yeah, whoever's fastest, you'll get the fastest laps. But if you break the car halfway through, you're not making laps. So we kind of take a look at who can maintain the car over the course of it, make sure that it's not breaking, but still pushing it pretty well. We have a test track that we can really, if anybody who wants to drive, we can monitor and see how their skills are and put the car through basically a mini endurance race and get all our data that we need, and then also seat time, which is really, really crucial.
Now, there are different aspects to each of the races, but the endurance that's the big one.
Yeah, that's what we call the feature event on there. And that's the main event for Sunday, which is a 4-hour long endurance race where all the cars are on track at one time. So there's 80 to 100 different teams all out there wheel to wheel going through mud, rocks, sand, anything they want. In the Oshkosh race, they took a whole bunch of old military vehicles, tore them apart, and just scattered the parts amongst. So there was one obstacle that was 12 rear axles just in a row, and you had to drive straight over them. They'll take telephone poles, railroad ties, all that kind of stuff. They want to break the cars.
Oh my goodness. Somebody's having a lot of fun at the heavy equipment site right now.
Oh my gosh, yes, they are. And I know John it's a little bit of a stressor there. But
oh yeah.
Since I've been here, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, I mean, I've seen you guys just knocking out, top 10s. And I think even, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you guys got did you place top?
Yeah, so there's the overall score, which is a whole mix of the dynamic day events, the endurance race, and all the paperwork side. So the static events like business report, cost report, and design report. That's the overall. We won in 2022. We did back-to-back wins on the endurance race. So we came in first for over the 4 hours out of 100 different teams.
That's amazing. Not too many teams can say that.
So given all of you've mentioned paperwork a couple times, so it kind of sounds like there's this business aspect too. And is that covered in your typical coursework for your program?
It's covered a little bit.
Okay.
This is technically, Baja is an engineering competition that you get to drive in. So they're more focused on the real engineering of it. So we have to do a design report where we present why our design is, why we think our design is the best. And then also the business report where we have to show business information about what, if we were to make this a legitimate business, what we would do with that. Then cost report, how much our car costs with overall and how we can make it cheaper in the future.
It's such a cool way to round out these programs.
Yeah.
Having this other extracurricular that you're
Absolutely.
exposed to the business aspects.
Takes what we're learning in our labs and lectures and puts it into a real world hands-on application before we actually get out into the real world. And we have to make sure that the parts are accurate and are correct, because if not, they don't go together and then you can't build a car and can't go race, which is, I think, is really cool, because it takes the theory and puts it into this is actually something I can do aspect.
Yeah. Have you heard of any past Baja members that have gone out into the workforce, applied for jobs, talked to employers, and have had that feedback on, oh, wow, you were part of Baja SAE? Like, does it seem like
I know
it's
a lot of
that...
a lot of our alumni go off and do really, really cool stuff. We have some that went to SpaceX. A lot of them, the employers really like to see.
I would think so. I mean, it's such a unique opportunity, and I had never heard of it before I came here. So I think it would at least raise some questions, like if they saw it on a resume. Can you tell me about this?
It's a
what
great
is
talking
this?
point.
Yeah.
It's a really great talking point. They're like, oh, what is this? And they're like, well, I'm designing and manufacturing parts as a hobby in college. So I can actually show you and bring in a lot of people have actually brought in parts that they've made in the club to interviews to be like, hey, this is something that I've actually made. And they're like, oh, wow, you made this. It's really cool. It's not just a class project.
Right. And there's this passion behind it. So everybody that I've talked to that has been a member of Baja, you can just clearly hear that in their voice. It's like there's this level of excitement that you just can't, you can't fake it.
Yeah. We really we like making cool parts and we like making cool stuff. So we're driven to do that. And Baja gives us the opportunity to do more advanced stuff that we wouldn't get to do in class.
I have so many questions about the event. I'm just imagining, okay, so this 4 hours, hour 3.5, how many cars are out there?
So usually within the first hour, around 40% of the cars will break. And so there's 60 cars maybe. The way we do it at PCT is we usually do 2 hour and 2 hours. So we'll switch off at the 2 hour mark. Used to be a one-stop race with our old car, with a 2-wheel drive car, but now we have to do two fuel pits. So we'll switch drivers at that time. So we're not having one person go all 4 hours, but you can do that. We have done that in the past. It works somewhat well, but it's really, really taxing on the driver.
Oh, for sure. So I was thinking it was going to be you sitting there for 4 hours. So that I had all kinds of questions about hydration and fueling and all.
You can do that in the fuel pits. You can have we're only allowed 3 people in the fuel pits. So if you want somebody to give you a water bottle while you're there, you can squirt it right into your helmet. Or you can there's not much you can do other than that. You can have a water bottle, but that's it. It's just go.
No hydration packs, because as running long distance,
it's extra weight.
Oh, okay. Oh boy. So you're trying to dehydrate yourself out there.
Yeah, you're going to be cutting weight here.
Yeah, going to the gym right now. So.
Oh my goodness.
2 hours. That is a long time. And for someone who hasn't seen this yet, we'll post the video or a couple of videos, because I think we have several videos that feature Baja. But I mean, your body is taking a beating on some of this stuff.
Yeah, there's not much creature comforts on these vehicles. We're trying to make them as light as possible. We have some padding in the seats, but other than that, we're just going all out. We want to try to make the car as light as possible, and you can tough it out for 2 hours. It's only 2 hours.
So how do we know, and can we say how much your car weighs?
That we are not sure of yet.
Okay.
So we're still, that's this year's task is we're building a whole new car right now. Last year we had just modified our existing two-wheel drive frame to fit four-wheel drive into it. But this year we're designing an entirely new chassis and an entirely new four-wheel drive system. So we're doing a whole lot more, and we're hoping to get our weight down substantially from last year. But we're in the mid 300s right now.
And just looking at your shirt, because you have a PCT Baja shirt on, and it's got the render, the one color rendering there of
this was one of our members, family member had taken one of our pictures and outlined it and showed us and was like, "That's awesome. We want that on a T-shirt." Yeah. I
mean, where I'm seeing the weight is probably the weight's probably all hidden underneath a couple panels in that engine, but the tires.
Rims, tires,
quite a bit, right?
Right now, we're working on our front, or the front of the car. The rear of the car is pretty well tuned out because that was all two-wheel drive stuff. But now we're working on the front of the car where we've added a front diff, drive axles, because with the new four-wheel drive requirement, we had to add a whole bunch of different gearboxes, front suspension stuff. Everything changed up there. So that's what my capstone is right now, is redesigning the front suspension to make it a whole lot lighter.
Well, and that'll change how the back responds too. If you're not,
so we'll do a whole bunch of testing to make sure that everything is working together. We'll find some other off-site location to go to do a little off-road.
What's your time frame for completion?
We're hoping to have by mid-April. Mid-April, we'll have a completed car.
And not a lot of time
and
before.
The race is mid-May, right?
Yeah, so it'll give us 1 month to actually test and tune. That was one of the challenges last year is we did not have time to test and tune, and we didn't do as well because we just had so many parts to make, and we had a very, very young team. We only had like freshmen and sophomores last year, and I think I was the only junior on the team. So we had no seniors, one junior, freshmen and sophomores. So we did a whole lot with what we had, but we did not have time to test and tune. We left I think we got there an hour before the race, before we needed to like actually stage.
Oh my gosh.
So we drove through the night and got there at 5 o'clock in the morning. We had left here at 10 o'clock at night.
So that's a really sweet advantage to just driving up over the mountain to the site.
It's 15 minutes up the road instead of 15 hours, which is really, really nice.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
What does your role look like? And maybe it's just you're dedicated to the race and that's your part of the weekend. Is the team involved in any of the volunteer work during the event or anything like that? Or
so we may help out a little bit after the race. I know at least I'm going to be staying up here for another 2 days to help clean up the event, but I don't think that we're going to be doing any official things with the race. We're there as a team like any other race that we would.
Yeah.
So we'll show up the same time that everybody else does. We'll line our trailer up and treat it as if it was a race out in Wisconsin or California.
How far have you gone for a race? You said 15 hours. Where was that?
That was Oshkosh, Wisconsin last year. That was a very long drive.
Oh, lots of memories, though. Lots of time to have fun and just hang out. And
yeah. You learn a lot about people sitting in the car for 15 hours.
Now, will the public get to engage in this event?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a volunteer portal up on our PCT Baja page on Penn College's website. If you go into there, there's a link that'll send you to the SAE form if you want to volunteer or sign up. Asks you which areas you're interested in and what tasks you might want to do on that.
Okay, great. Now, that's May 16 through 19, right?
Yep. It's a Thursday through Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely add that link down into our show notes as well. So definitely check that out. I actually just filled my form out yesterday.
Awesome.
So
what did you choose?
I said, put me anywhere.
General?
Just put me in the game.
Awesome.
I want to be in the pit.
You'll have fun. It's really cool. It's a really cool opportunity. There's nothing really else that I've experienced like that at this level of college and university level where these kids are learning. That's the whole aspect of this. It's a learning opportunity. And to see the way that different teams interact and go about the different challenges it's a really awesome event.
So what other schools are involved that you're like, yeah, these kids got it going on?
We're going up against top teams like Michigan of Ann Arbor, RIT, ETS, Montreal, Cornell, and a whole bunch of like big Ivy League schools that are they're making awesome kick-ass cars, and we're trying to keep up with them. We're doing our best.
Do you have a rival?
Not really.
No.
This competition doesn't really. We don't really have that big rivalry when we're going against everybody else, but we're trying to keep up with the really big schools. We don't have one specifically.
We'll get some Ferrari, Red Bull action going here.
Celsius.
Yeah.
Come on. We're pushing for that. So anything you're looking forward to most on race weekend?
Well, it's going to be, I don't know if it may be my last race. But there's another one in September that I might come back for. In this one, it's going to be, it's home kind of.
Yes,
So
that's special.
I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of our families are going to be driving in. So, these events are in Oshkosh, they're in Tennessee, they're in Kentucky, they're far away. So like my parents always like, I want to come see your event, but
it's a lot of driving.
It's a lot of driving. So it's going to be really cool to see all of our family members there and be like, oh, they finally get to see what
what's happening. Here's what
we've been
been
talking about forever. And they're like, oh, I see you would do it, but it would be awesome to see you race. So it's going to be cool to have a whole bunch of our family there and friends to see our actual race. That's probably what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. As far as back to the volunteering, I mean, we know on campus here we were invited to volunteer. Is that something anyone can do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Anybody can volunteer.
Nice.
Parents, friends, all of them.
How about sponsors? How do they get involved in this?
So that's also on our PCT Baja page. On the Penn College website, and then also on our Instagram. If sponsors wanted to reach out, they can DM us, or there's an actual portal in there where they can donate to either the event or to the team.
Wonderful. Well, we could probably talk about the event all day long.
Absolutely.
But I know, Summer, you got a lot of other things that you wanted to touch on.
I'm sure you've had lots of really amazing moments out there in the car. Is there anything that you were like, if somebody asks you to tell your favorite story or something cool that happened, is there anything that sticks out to you as a really awesome memory out there?
There was just a couple really cool of times. I guess there's really cool obstacles at different courses. There was some really, really cool ones at Rochester that were just it was a really cool viewing area, so you could see all the cars coming down. It was super muddy. One of the memorable ones was Oshkosh. That was an absolute mud fest. And we had to wade through like 6 to 8 inches just to get to the track. It was completely flooded, the entire walkway there. And so it wasn't just the drivers that were muddy, it was every single team member was just covered in mud. That was a memorable one, because like when we got back to the hotel, we had to clean the cars, we had to clean everything before we could proceed, because we were just all covered in mud. But it was really cool because it was a camaraderie of like, oh, it's not just one person that's messy right now. It's the entire team that is caked in mud right now.
So May 14, 15, bring the rain.
Yeah, well, we're hoping no rain, because
You want no rain?
I don't want mud again. That was mayhem.
Is this open to public viewing too? Like anybody can just go and check it out?
Yep, there will be a spectator area that friends, family, people from the community can come and watch and just sit there and have a good time, watch the racing.
I hope the community knows how special this is, and I hope people come out for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity for the community, for restaurants, for hotels, for all the different eateries and everything in the community, because if you think there's about a minimum of 12 people about per team, and there's over 100 different teams that are signed up to come. That's a lot of people that are here they're hungry. They're always hungry.
Yeah. Speaking of food, any special places you'd recommend if anyone's listening to this? Where should they get their dinner?
Don Patron is great.
You like Don?
I
Okay,
love
good.
Don Patron.
Yeah.
Don Patron is one of our favorite. That's a spot that our team goes out to a lot. We'll end our work day and be like, all right, it's Don Patron night. So I'll go out to Don Patron.
And is that Mexican food?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Hobie's is good. Melito's is good. Old School Pizza is really, really good pizza. I very much enjoy Old School Pizza.
What do you think is the most rewarding part of being on this team?
We get that question a lot. I think it's really cool to see your work go out and have a purpose, because a lot of class projects, this is like, all right, you're doing one task, you're modeling something, and then at the end of it, it's like, okay, you turned it in for a grade. Where this, you model something and then you hand it off to the next process, and you get to see your thoughts and your ideas take shape. You get to see it get formed out of aluminum or steel or titanium or whatever it is, and you get to see it then get placed onto the car, and then you get to go see that car go race. And it's really, really rewarding to see all the hard work that you do and all the time that you spend in the lab and all the manufacturing time. And it's really cool to see it have a dedicated purpose and just go and race. I really like seeing the process from concept to end product. That's where I get a lot of my reward, when I see like the final piece. They place it on my desk. I'm like, oh.
I wish we had a video camera in here now. We talk about that a lot, but he's like, Marshall's very animated and his hands are going everywhere, and he's showing us how big the piece is, and it's fun.
Yeah, we like really shiny parts. We like really shiny parts. So when we get to take a lot of pride in our work, because the car is a showpiece. It's a piece of art, where maybe it's not art in the sense of you're painting or you're taking a photo, but you're making something that you're passionate about, and you take a lot of pride in making the parts look good, making them accurate and dimensionally accurate, but also like the parts we're making are they're really cool. They're organic. They're really, really cool pieces. And then you get to show them off. And when we're in tech line or in line for tech inspection, we often go around and take a look at all the other cars and see what other people had for their ideas. And then our car, a lot of people stop by and they're like, wow, these are really, really nice. This stuff looks really good, guys. So it's really rewarding when other people come up to me like, wow, you guys do really cool work.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to pivot to, where you were before you came to Penn College. What school were you in? And what studies did you take on there?
Yeah, so before Penn College, I was still in high school. I went to Pennridge High School, and in high school, I did TSA, which was Technology Student Association, which was where I really found my passion for engineering and the hands-on aspect of it. Because that in there, it was very similar. I say it's similar to Baja, but it's not. But it was competition based, and high school kids, well, it was actually middle school and high school kids would be tasked with building something based on a rule set. There were different projects that they could choose from, and then they would go to a regional competition. And then if they did well at regionals, they could go to states. I always did CO2 dragster. So I built a little, it was like a little land speed drag car that was powered by one of those CO2 cartridges, and they'd race them down these tracks. And I had to build everything. It was built out of balsa wood. It was very simple, but there was a lot of technical information you could do on it. You could put graphite on the rods. You could turn down your wheels to get that competitive edge. And that's where I really found my niche on getting into the fine details of it.
That's cool. I think back to my high school years. We didn't really have anything like that. You either were on an academic track or you were on a trades track with, metal shop, wood shop. Not where I went to high school. We didn't have ag there, but where I went to middle school. It just seemed like those students, that they had their path set to graduate high school, go out into the workforce.
Yes.
But you had this nice mix that said, okay, well, engineering's in there, and college has to be in that mix. What do you think that looks like for a student who's coming up now, who may have those same opportunities as you had to be able to get into some type of pre-engineering program in high school or an actual engineering program in high school. Or maybe for those that do, I don't, is metal shop and wood shop and all that still a thing in high schools?
I've always preached. I did wood shop and metal shop in high school. Both my parents were they did pottery when I was growing up, and then my dad always had a wood shop. So my brothers and I were always out in the wood shop just making something. He didn't care what it was. He was just like, I don't know, make something. It was really cool to use our creativity just to make whatever. But there are opportunities after high school to do whatever. Yeah, you can go the full mechanical engineering route, go to a large school, or there's small schools that the trades are always a great option. Penn College is unique in the fact that it's a mix of both the hands-on learning, but also the classroom work, where we're sitting in a lecture for only an hour, but then we're spending 3 hours in our lab learning and trying to master the skills that we just were taught, which is I found that to be really, really cool.
Yeah, and I'm blown away by what you all do. I mean, I see freshmen in these labs, coming into into fall semester and the spring semester. I'm like, wait a minute, you just started this.
Yep.
How are you doing these amazing things already? And then they get to senior year, and it's like, hey, you're going to go out and kill it.
That's what we're here to do.
Something when you said the labs, I've heard too and seen it in person where some upperclassmen kind of work with the newer students too, just sort of like standing by watching, like, hey, Marshall, what are you doing? Can you show me what you're doing? And so, of course, we have talented faculty, but I think there's this camaraderie with our students too, where they're learning from upperclassmen and seeing their projects and just taking it all in.
Absolutely. And that's one where the Baja Club, we strive to do that, because if we don't, the club will die. And all the knowledge that we have, we're taking with us, and then the team's got to restart again. And so really trying to make sure we're documenting everything, and that learning aspect of ask questions. People are always afraid to ask questions. I'm like, you're not going to learn if you don't ask the questions. I can't read your mind. I don't know what you're thinking. So we have a lot of members who that's all I did when I was a freshman. I was just asking the technical questions that are well thought out. I found provided a whole different answer, but other than what are you doing, you'll get a very short answer with that. But if you ask like, why are you doing this way? Then that person, that's what I did with John. I would ask technical questions and he'd throw the technical answer right back, which is really, really cool. That whole learning environment we want to teach. We're here to pass down our knowledge, because if we don't pass it down, it fizzes away.
It sounds like you've always enjoyed making things, and you mentioned the wood shop, and it sounds also like you're quite busy preparing for Baja. But is there do you have any other projects outside of? You're laughing, yeah. Anything else going on maybe the project's kind of on the shelf right now, but any passion projects that you have in the works?
There were a few projects I was working on as a freshman that are still in the in the design phase. I don't know. I dove really deep into Baja and I dedicated everything I had to it, so I didn't have too much extra time. But I don't know.
Maybe sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just thinking maybe when you're out of school, you're going to have a little more free time. So maybe there's like this thought in your head, hey, when I have this free time, I want to make blank.
Yeah, I was going through my flash drive the other day and I was like, oh, I remember wanting to work on that project. And then I was like, I got too much other stuff to do. But right now, if I need a break from doing the Baja work, I work on either my mountain bike or my longboard. One of you had asked about soft skills, and I was joking with my roommates. I would say about 25 to 33% of us ride longboards. Oh. So the fact that we had so many in the room that we had somebody make a specific longboard rack as one of the projects, because we were just all longboard class and longboard around campus. And then we just have this massive stack of like 6 longboards just on a pile. And we're like, we need to do something with that.
That's great. And you brought it today.
I did.
Here it is.
I go
you can't
around
see
everywhere.
it, people, but it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really cool opportunity because people are like, oh, you longboard? And they're like, can I try it? And then we'll go out in the parking lot and we'll be like scurry out there and we'll teach. I mean, a lot of the people who are on the team learned in Baja. So we're not just teaching engineering things over here. We're teaching life skills of how to ride a longboard.
I don't know if that counts as a soft skill. I've seen some bruises. It looks pretty hard.
Yeah.
Are you doing any downhill longboard?
Not on that one. That one's a little old. But I would like to eventually. I have done some downhill mountain biking though. There's a lot of really, really great mountain biking trails around here. And I've worked with a couple other people from the welding lab and other. I used to be an RA, so other RAs. It's just something to do to get out, which is really fun.
So you are mountain biking. That's great.
Yeah.
I think that's something we don't talk enough about. There's just the trails in our area are fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just amazing.
Yeah, I really like it. I used to do a lot. I still do a fair amount of hiking, and within a 50-mile radius of the school, there's so many different opportunities to get out and do whatever you want, really.
We'll have to get our friends from welding in here that we did some mountain bike photos.
You probably know some of them.
Those are the people.
Yeah. I do see some of the things that Nick's doing on Strava.
Yeah.
I love watching his. Yeah.
Yeah, I kick myself every time I see them do a ride. I'm like, why am I not out there riding? I know why, but
Well, they
I
don't
really
mind
still
the
should
weather.
be.
They don't
know.
mind. It could be cold. It could be wet. The rain's making the trails a little sloppy these days. They don't mind.
Yeah.
They're out there.
All right. Any takeaways? I know you mentioned asking the questions earlier, but any takeaway, any advice for an up and coming engineering design student?
Yeah, I guess I could say get out there and just, if you're passionate about what you do, it will reward you. If you put in the time to truly learn and dedicate yourself to trying to master a skill, it will reward you in the end. I looked at a couple of my designs that I had my freshman year. I was like, I can do that better. I can do that better. Even after it was done, I saw it on the card. I'd be like, if only I did this. It's like the Monday morning quarterback. Be like, I could do it. I should have done it this way. But if you continuously and try to improve yourself, it's so rewarding in the end. Where you're just like, wow, this is. I'm proud of this. Getting hands-on experience transformed the way I design things. Being able to see this is how it's going to actually be made, and talking and having those conversations with the machinists really shaped the way that I actually design things, because they're like, well, you can't do that. No, you cannot do that. When it's an innocent idea, but you're just like, having the conversations, talk to people. People want to share their knowledge. Don't be afraid to go off and ask questions. People want to share the knowledge that they have, and they're more than willing to.
Fantastic advice. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you
Marshall.
for having me.
Thank you. We're really excited for the event, and we wish your team good luck.
Thank you. It's gonna be an awesome event.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Check out our show notes for bookmarks to your favorite sections and links to resources that we mentioned in today's episode.
You can also find past episodes and see what's on deck for upcoming ones at pct.edu/podcast.
And of course, we are open to your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions, so send those over at podcast@pct.edu.
It's been real.
Catch you next time.